Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I posted. Um, I got a new job, so I've been trying to build my endurance up to it, and it's been really busy. But I want to talk about endometriosis a little bit. So, 1 in 10 women have endometriosis. So, someone you know, I promise you, has endometriosis. Your mom, your daughter, your sister, your aunt, your cousin, whoever. It is one of the most common gynecological diseases, and it's also the most under-researched disease, which doesn't make any sense. So, a little bit about my story in endometriosis. I was 18, 19 when I started to feel some chronic pain in my stomach, and my periods got a lot worse. I started missing school and work, and I went to a GI specialist at first because I thought it was maybe, something in my belly or intestines or something. I actually saw that doctor once a week, and she tried a whole different bunch of meds and it didn't work. I ended up I was going to the University of Rhode Island at the time, and I ended up having to stop going to school because I couldn't walk to my class. If I made it to my class, I would either pass out from the pain or be in the bathroom the whole time, vomiting from the pain. My boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, frequently had to leave work to come pick me up because I was just too lightheaded and in too much pain to drive home. So this went on for a while, and I went to the emergency room a few times and they couldn't figure it out. They started telling me it was in my head, and they tried to put me on depression medication. They were accusing me of just drug seeking and all this crazy stuff. So finally, when I was 20, I went to the emergency room, and my gynecologist so happened to be there, and he immediately took me into emergency exploratory surgery, and he found the endometriosis. So it wasn't in my head. I was in a lot of pain. I lost about 35 pounds because I couldn't keep any food down. He started me on Lupron, which was the worst decision I ever made, but I was not educated on the disease at the time, so I thought it was my best option. I had to go monthly for daily injections for it. I tried it for 6 months, and it was terrible. It made me go into menopause. I was starting to lose my hair. I was super grumpy. I didn't feel good, and it didn't help with my pain at all. So after 6 months, we stopped that. So since then, since I'm 31 now, and since I was diagnosed at 20, I've had 5 surgeries. 3 were ablation surgeries, and my pain returned within a month or 2. So I finally found a specialist in Maine, Dr. Robbins, and he performs this new type of surgery called excision surgery. So what they do is they actually cut out the bad tissue, but they cut around it into the good tissue so that the good tissue would heal from the inside out, and it would cause less scarring. My first surgery with Dr. Robbins was in, I think it was in 2015, and he removed a bunch of adhesions. He removed my appendix because I was having severe right-sided pain, and he found endometriosis on my appendix. Then I recovered from that. And then about a year later, my pain returned, so I went back to him for a second surgery, and he removed more adhesions. My colon was actually stuck to my bladder, and he removed the rest of the scar tissue. So that was in 2017. And since then, my chronic pain has diminished drastically. I still have pain, especially around my period, but it's not as debilitating as it used to be. So I highly recommend that women find a specialist. There's not many around that perform that type of surgery. It's a newer surgery. There's a few on the East Coast. There's a couple doctors in New York. There's one in Maine. There's 2 in the Midwest, and then there's 2 on the West Coast. And it's expensive. My insurance didn't cover it. They covered my hospital stay, but not the actual surgery, which is ridiculous. I don't understand why. But ever since my last surgery in 2017, I've been doing a lot better with my endometriosis. Unfortunately, I was then diagnosed with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, which are sister diseases to endometriosis. So my fibromyalgia is pretty much manageable. I do have flares, though, of it. It just makes my body ache all over, and I get super tired on top of the chronic fatigue. But at least my endometriosis is manageable now, so I'm very thankful for that. I don't understand why doctors, especially gynecologists, aren't more educated on endometriosis. Since it's the most common female gynecological disease, it's also the third leading cause of infertility in women. So I don't get it. There's a center that opened up last year in Boston. It's called the Boston Center for Endometriosis, where they do a lot of research on it. And they found out that a lot of it has to do with your diet. For example, like dairy really triggers my endometriosis. Meat of any kind, just because it's so filled with hormones. So I really changed my diet drastically, and that's helped a lot. But there's definitely need to be more awareness and education about it. My advice to you is to advocate for yourself. The pain's not in your head. The pain is real. So don't let anyone tell you, a doctor, your family members, anyone tell you that it's all in your head, because that's not the case. It's not in your head. So some days are better than others, and I'm trying to find a good balance for my body with work, and then I also run a nonprofit guinea pig rescue. So I'm pretty busy, but I'm trying to relax when I can, do things just for self-care. But yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand why there's not more research on it. I don't understand why there's not something to treat it besides birth control, and even that doesn't always work. I would not recommend trying Lupron. It just pumps a whole bunch of chemicals into your body, and it just was awful. So do your research, educate yourself, advocate for yourself, go to different doctors, find someone who understands. If you have the means, try to find a specialist in excision surgery. That's all the advice I can give you. I know it's really hard and it affects our everyday lives. It's never going to go away. There's no cure, unfortunately, but I'm dedicated to women's health, and I am going to do the best I can to make sure that there's more research on this and that people are more educated on it, and that doctors become more educated on it. So stay strong. You're not alone. There's a lot of women like you who are struggling a lot. I completely understand. I'm here to talk if you need to talk about it. But just, again, advocate for yourself. It's not in your head. Find the right doctor. Just keep trying. That's all you can do. And take care of yourself. So that's my journey with endometriosis so far. Next time I'll talk more about my fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. But that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later.